Hey everyone, Dorothy here. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a pastel rainbow cake. If you know anything about me, you know that I love unicorns and rainbows, and I'm a lover of all things sprinkles and glitter. And whenever we're at a bakery or I'm surfing the internet and I see a rainbow cake, my husband tells me, you need to calm down. So today I'm going to show you how to make one of my favorite cakes, a rainbow cake using pastel colors. This cake is easy enough to make, but it's a little labor intensive, right? We're gonna make layers, we're gonna color them, we're gonna make frosting, we're gonna make a frosted cake, we're gonna do some pretty colorful frosting on the outside. And you know, you don't make these cakes just because it's Tuesday. You make them for a special occasion. You make them for an anniversary, a birthday, or something special. Like for Taylor Swift's album release. This is a pastel rainbow cake to celebrate Lover. All right, to make this cake, we're gonna start off with flour, salt, and baking powder. We're gonna mix those together and whisk them up. And then set that aside. All right, once you have the dry ingredients together, it's time to get our wet ingredients and our batter going. I'm gonna start first by preparing my buttermilk. This recipe calls for 1 1/4 cups of buttermilk, but as usual, I forgot to buy buttermilk at the grocery store. But have no fear, you can make your own. So to make your own buttermilk, I'm gonna use some distilled white vinegar, and I'm just gonna add about a teaspoon, you can kind of eyeball it, but just about a teaspoon to the bottom of a measuring cup. And then you're gonna add enough milk to make what's called for in the recipe. So this needs 1 1/4 cups. So I'm gonna add this up to 1 1/4 cups. And that, I'm gonna let this sit while I incorporate the butter and sugar and all that. And after about 5 minutes, poof, it'll be buttermilk. So this is my basic vanilla cake recipe, by the way. This is the one I always use whenever I make a vanilla layer cake. We're gonna start with some melted butter. So I'm gonna add sugar to the melted butter. Now, the great thing about this, because we're not actually like creaming it, you could actually just do this with a whisk. If you don't have a hand mixer or a stand mixer. I'm gonna use a hand mixer just because we're on video today. I would use a hand mixer if I was just doing this in my kitchen. All right, which I am doing it in my kitchen, but you know what I mean. All right, to this, I'm going to add 4 eggs. Now you might be asking yourself, why is she making a Taylor Swift cake? Like, why is this almost 42-year-old woman making a cake to celebrate a Taylor Swift album? And I will tell you, because I love Taylor Swift. My daughter fell in love with her hard a few years ago. It was during the 1989 era, and she was obsessed with her. So I became obsessed with her because, you know, I'm her mom. We went to the 1989 concert. It was like so much fun. I'd never been to a concert with that much energy or that much excitement. And after that, my daughter kind of grew up, and you know, she still likes Taylor Swift, but she's moved on to, like, you know, rap and all the things that teenagers do. And I am still hardcore. I've become like a 12-year-old girl, man. I love Taylor Swift. I love all she stands for. And I was like, what can I do? I'm so excited about the Lover album coming out. I feel like it's a mantra for my life going forward right now, and this whole snake into butterfly and happiness thing. So I just feel like I wanted to celebrate. And how do I like to celebrate? I like to celebrate with cake. Before we deal with the dry ingredients in the milk, I'm gonna add vanilla. Now to the cake, I'm gonna add just regular vanilla. I do have vanilla bean paste. I'm gonna use that in the frosting. You could also use that in the cake, but I find for the cake, just plain old vanilla is fine. I'm gonna do a couple of these, because this is a teaspoon. All right. All right, and so now we're gonna add in our flour and our buttermilk, and we're gonna do it alternately, starting and ending with the flour. So I'm gonna add about 1/3 of the flour in there. So it's just incorporating. Okay, it's just not quite incorporated, and now I'm gonna add some of my buttermilk. About half of it. And I'm gonna just continue alternating, adding these until it's completely mixed, and just mixed. Don't overmix. Since I'm making a 4-layer cake, I'm gonna divide this into 4 different little bowls, and we're gonna color each one with food coloring. Now, if you are worried about getting them even, it's good if you use the same size bowls, like the same bowls, if you have 4 of the same, because then you can tell that they're even by looking at the bowls. But if you're using 7 different bowls or anything, a food scale would be a really other good way of making sure you've got it even, because you would just weigh it and make sure that each bowl had the same amount of batter in it that way. I'm gonna pick 4 colors. Now again, you could do any colors for this cake. Use your favorite if you're making a mermaid cake or a unicorn cake, or you could use bright colors or, you know, football colors, whatever colors you want. Because we're celebrating Taylor Swift and her Lover album, I'm gonna use pink and purple and light blue and yellow, because to me those are the colors that really signify her new album. I want it to be like a yellow, like the pantsuit yellow from Me. That's kind of what I had in mind, and there we go. That's what it is, huh? Now I have buttered and floured my pans with some parchment. I like, because I'm making a layer cake and because these are thin, because I'm doing, instead of 2 layers, 8-inch layers, I'm doing 4, so they're gonna be like half as thick. I like to use the parchment just to make sure that it's gonna like come out of the pan afterwards. Taylor Swift, I love it. I love this whole album and I can't wait. Like, I want all the merch. Like, every time she releases a new song, she releases new merch, and I'm like, oh my god, I need that. My daughter's like, Mom, you're 40. Like, slow your roll. You need to calm down. And I'm like, no, I don't want to calm down. I also love how I feel like Taylor Swift makes everyone feel like she's their best friend. And like, I don't know what she's like in real life, but in my head, she's exactly the same that she is on her personality on camera, that she's just happy that everyone is around her and so thankful. Maybe it's a pipe dream. That's what I hope in my head. All right, I have all 4 of my cakes ready to go in the oven. I'm gonna bake these until they are, a toothpick comes out clean, and then let them cool, and then I'm gonna clean up here, and then we're gonna make the frosting. All right, so now I'm gonna make the frosting for my Pastel Rainbow Cake, which is also AKA the Taylor Swift Lover Cake. Since there are 4 layers in this cake, I'm gonna make 1.5 times the normal frosting recipe that I make for my vanilla yellow cake recipe. Normally I use 2 sticks of butter and 4 cups of sugar, and I'll go from there. But because I'm gonna be frosting in between the layers, and I'm gonna be doing a crumb coat, and I'm gonna be coloring some of the frosting for the outside, I wanna not run out of frosting, so I'm gonna do 3 sticks of butter, because butter is better. You know, 1989 was when I really fell in love with Taylor Swift, and I loved the poppiness of it. Of course, I knew who she was before, but I'm not really been a country fan. And so 1989 was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I like this sound, you know? And then Reputation was just so different. And actually, what's kind of funny, and probably one of the reasons why I feel like such a kinship with her, is that when Reputation came out, I know it was like after she'd already dealt with all the stuff that made her write those songs, but when Reputation came out that year, was a really difficult one for me and for my family. And it was almost like a mantra. Like, it was like a mantra to life at that time in my life. And like, look what you made me do and all those things. And then when Me came out, the song, and it was the whole snake bursting into a butterfly, I was like, I just loved the message because it's like a transformation, and in my life right now, I'm really trying to transform myself and to like a happier, better version of myself. And so I feel like, again, like somehow she's tapped into my head and is making a mantra again of what's going on in my life. So I'm super excited for this album. It's all about love. I'm absolutely loving the songs that have come out so far. I'm super excited to see this. Look at the colors on the cake. I mean, perfect, right? It's like the Me video come to life in cake. I'm so excited. All right, I'm gonna start. I mean, you can put these in any order that you want, but I'm gonna kind of go like rainbow, which would have purple on the bottom. So I'm going to put first purple on the bottom. So I'm gonna take my cake layer. So what I'm gonna do is I have my frosting, and I'm using an offset spatula, and I'm gonna put some filling on the center of the cake, and I'm gonna spread it out evenly. Now again, you could use a filling if you want. You could use a peanut butter filling, use a chocolate frosting in the middle. Maybe you like lemon curd would go delicious in this. Any sort of filling that you want, if you want something that's more than just vanilla frosting, like a vanilla cake with vanilla frosting. So now we're gonna do what's called a crumb coat. Now a crumb coat for a cake it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a coat of frosting to catch all the crumbs. So if you've ever, if you're making like a vanilla cake that's like a white or vanilla cake, they don't show as much if you're using vanilla frosting, but when you use a colorful cake like this or a chocolate cake and you frost it, all the crumbs from the cake get caught in the frosting and show, right? Well, to avoid that, we do a crumb coat. So I'm gonna do a very light layer of white frosting all over the top and sides of the cake. And then I'm gonna chill that, and once that's set, then I'm gonna be able to do other decorations or other frosting or layer, however you wanna frost the outside, without all the crumbs getting stuck in the frosting. I have my frostings ready. I picked 2 colors. I did the pink and the purple, because we're gonna do like a little watercolor kind of technique on the outside of the cake. And now I'm gonna make my favorite part of any cake, which is the sprinkles. So you can use any sprinkles you want here. You could, just use rainbow sprinkles if you want. I love making my own mixes of sprinkles, and it's got a sprinkle mix. You just mix it up until you think you're happy. You could add some silver stars in here. Omit a color if you don't want to do the yellow, you don't have to. You could add green, whatever colors you want, but I'm gonna save this for decorating around the bottom of the cake and sprinkling on the top. All right, so my cake, if I touch it, the crumb coat is hardened, and so now I'm gonna do the outside layer of my cake. And what I'm gonna do for this, now you could just do white, you could frost it all with one color. I'm gonna try a technique that I think is called watercolor. I'm gonna do dollops of the different colors all over the cake here, like so, and kind of make it a little bit, kind of like her album cover is kind of like sky-ish and like kind of hazy. I like the white, the pop of the white in there, especially on the top. I'm gonna like watercolor the cake. Gonna smear it so that it doesn't mix, but that it's sort of mixed, but not really. I don't want to spread it too much because then the colors will all mix. And if you need to in between, you can like wipe off your spatula. I swirled my frostings in the plastic wrap, and now I'm gonna add it to a piping bag, and I have a 1M tip. You can use any tip you want. I like the 1M swirls. So first thing you gotta do is cut off one piece of one end of the frosting swirl bag, and then you're gonna just drop it into your bag. This is a good way, an easy way of creating a swirl effect. So I'm gonna take my cake, and now I'm gonna pipe swirls around the edge. Okay, now I'm gonna take my sprinkles, and I'm gonna sprinkle them over the top, however many I want. And there you have it. Now I'm gonna chill that just so the frosting can set. It's warm in my house, it's summer right now, so I'm gonna chill this until the frosting is set, and then we'll slice into it. And there you have it. It's a pastel rainbow cake, AKA a Taylor Swift lover cake. Just slicing it here. Look how pretty it is. Look how gorgeous those layers are. Seriously, you guys, hands down, my favorite cake ever. Vanilla cake with vanilla frosting. Nice and pretty. Pastel rainbow layer cake. This is the perfect cake for a birthday, a party, or because Taylor Swift released her new album. Congratulations, Taylor Swift, and all you Swifties out there, put your favorite track down in the comments below. See you next time.